The final question we're going to talk about here, and the big one facing the court today, is what is the right to privacy? Privacy is not explicitly stated in the Bill of Rights or elsewhere in the Constitution. However, the Supreme Court began to recognize its existence around 1965. It was found in the penumbras of things like the right to due process and some unstated rights like the Ninth Amendment. The biggest cases here have historically surrounded the right to sexual privacy. The first one here is Griswold versus Connecticut, which was decided in 1961, giving married couples the right to use birth control for contraceptive purposes. Up until then, states could ban birth control if they chose, but as of 1961, it's legal for all married people to use birth control. Single people, sorry, you're stuck having kids. At least until 1972 with the case of Eisenstadt v. Baird, which extended the right to birth control for contraception to unmarried couples. And of course, in 1973, we have the famous case, or infamous case, depending on how you look at it, of Roe versus Wade, which allowed people to get abortions. The next area is the rights of homosexuals. Bowers v. Hardwick, I think we talked about last time, in 1986, upheld Georgia's anti-sodomy law, banning gay sex in the state of Georgia. However, smash cut to Lawrence v. Texas in 2003, the Supreme Court reversed this decision, striking down all anti-sodomy laws across the nation as a violation of privacy. The court decided that what happens in the privacy of the bedroom between consenting adults is private, and the government has no right to pass laws restricting any behavior along those lines. The interesting part here is that in 1986, when Bowers v. Hardwick was decided, half of all states had anti-sodomy laws. When the court overruled these laws in 2003, only 13 retained those laws. It seems like there was an element of public opinion going on in the Supreme Court decision-making process, and we see this in things like, the Obamacare decision. We see this in terms of medical marijuana, perhaps. As we start seeing more states pass marijuana laws, the Supreme Court may rule on it. This was obviously just a quick review of some civil liberties with the idea of giving you all exposure to some of the issues and detail of civil liberties. And to show you how slow the process of incorporation was. We're looking at 230 years after the founding of our country that we're finally getting all the rights in the Bill of Rights forced on the states, not just the federal government. This is all clearly important issues, especially the idea of the right to privacy becoming more and more important as we give up more and more data to people. And it's more and more controversial as time goes on. This will, take place in terms of data sharing, in terms of trans rights, in terms of, whatever issues we can't even imagine now. So thanks everybody. I'll talk to you all for, one final brief lecture about public opinion coming up next week.